of the vaccine for certain infants with underlying health issues. The new vaccine is the first with approval to protect newborns against RSV, which is the leading cause of hospitalization among children less than a year old. This comes at the same time the Food and Drug Administration is approving their first ever pill for postpartum depression. The FDA announced the medication is safe for women to take if they've recently had a baby and are experiencing postpartum depression symptoms. In clinical trials, women who dealt with anxiety, depression, low energy, trouble sleeping, and guilt had improved symptoms as early as 3 days after the first pill. That's your Healthy Minute. I'm Morgan Wood on the Black Information Network.
All the black news you trust every 30 minutes on the Black Information Network.
The Bay Area's BIN 910.
In the film and TV business, it's all about who you know. And now, you know Array Crew. Filmmaker Ava DuVernay brings you ArrayCrew.com. Finally, there's a platform where film and TV productions can find qualified crew members of all kinds, cultures, genders, and backgrounds.
With gaffers, camera people, costumers, script supervisors, scenic painters, craft services are kind of left out in the fold and are not part of the inclusion conversation.
We're not just promoting diversity and inclusion, we're delivering it. Sign up now and showcase your work. It's completely free to crew members, always.
We're hoping that this changes behavior and takes away one of the many barriers that has, allowed so many people of different kinds to be left out of the movie making process.
Real representation, real change, real progress. Learn more at ArrayCrew.com.
9:10 a.m. KKSF, Oakland, the Black Information Network.
Tell your smart device to play Bay Area's BIN 910 on iHeartRadio.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Police in Montgomery, Alabama say one person has turned and others are expected to surrender in connection to a brawl at a river dock. Video of the fight that happened Saturday went viral. The black co-captain of a riverboat being attacked by a group of white men after police say he had asked them to move their boat from a reserve space. Many Los Angeles city services were impacted by a one-day strike today, as many as 11,000 city employees protested over what they call the city's refusal to bargain in good faith. According to a new study, an obesity drug called Wegovy could cut the risk of cardiovascular emergencies like heart attack and stroke by 20%. If the study holds up, it could be compelling enough to get insurance companies to provide coverage for the medication that costs $1,300 for a month supply. That's the latest from the news.com.
I'm Terry McCready.
And I'm Kevin Brown, and you're home for 20% of news, the Black Information Network.
Alcohol and adrenaline may have fueled a massive brawl and a black worker tried to clear the dock along the Alabama River so the area's two riverboats could dock. But a group of aggressive white boaters refused to move their pontoon and attack the workers, leading to fists flying and chairs being hurled. Witnesses Leslie Mahorter and Krista Owen were both on board the riverboat at the time. Mahorter says the boaters didn't think the rules applied to them and the situation was avoidable. And Owen says he tried to report the incident to make sure the riverfront is a popular summertime destination. ITV Bravo for the Black Information Network.
The 18.5 variant now represents the majority of COVID-19 infections nationwide, and the CDC says many parts of the country are reporting their first upticks in virus a month. Currently, 17.3% of COVID-19 cases nationwide are projected to be caused by EG.5, which is an increase from 7.5% through the first week of July. The virus includes a strain of a subgroup of variants known as EG.5.1, nicknamed Harris by a biology professor. Experts say EG.5 is one of the fastest growing lineages around the world and is one of several closely related Omicron subvariants that have been spreading in recent months.
Following reports that an innocent black pregnant woman mistakenly ID'd as a criminal suspect by facial recognition software in Michigan, U.S. Senator Ed Markey is demanding federal legislation he first proposed years ago. The New York Times reported 32-year-old Portia Woodruff was getting her daughters ready for school back in February when Detroit police arrested her for alleged robbery and carjacking. She was detained for 11 hours and was later hospitalized for dehydration and has since filed a lawsuit against the city and a detective. On social media, Markey called the encounter unacceptable, saying facial recognition frequently misidentifies vulnerable and marginalized people.
An appeal to the Oklahoma Supreme Court filed by a group of descendants and survivors of the 1921 Tulsa massacre, requesting that it take up a reparations case that was dismissed last month by a lower court. Civil rights attorney Demario Solomon Simmons brought the lawsuit under Oklahoma's public nuisance law and said he's looking to the high court to return the case to the district level for discovery. Survivors Leslie Benningfield Randall, Hughes Van Ellis, and Viola Fletcher are all over 100 years old and filed a lawsuit in 2020 characterizing the massacre as one of the worst acts of domestic terrorism in United States history since slavery. In addition to reparations, the litigation included a compensation fund, punitive damages, and educational programs for Greenwood residents.
Coming up, more details on that riverfront fight
You
that
are going
went
the
viral
wrong way down the
nationwide.
street.
For more on these stories and international, national, state, and local news affecting the Black community, listen to the Black Information Network on the iHeartRadio app or log on to BINnews.com. On social media, follow the BIN on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok at Black Information Network and on Twitter at BlackInfoNet. I'm Terry McCready along with Kevin Brown on your home for 24/7 News, the Black Information Network.
I'm Keith Urquhart on the Black Information Network. 1908, a group of black and white leaders joined together to form a new permanent civil rights organization, the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People, NAACP. February 12, 1909 was chosen because it was the centennial anniversary of the birth of Abraham Lincoln. Since its inception, the NAACP has worked to achieve its goals through the judicial system, lobbying, and peaceful protest. In 1910, Oklahoma passed a constitutional amendment allowing people whose grandfathers had been eligible to vote in 1866 to register without passing the literacy test. The NAACP challenged the law and won a legal victory in 1915 when the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that grandfather clauses were unconstitutional. In 1954, the NAACP Legal Defense Fund, led by Thurgood Marshall, argued the Brown versus Board of Education case, where the U.S. Supreme Court struck down the separate but equal doctrine of public schools. And that's a fact. For these stories and more, go to BINnews.com.
Black News in 30 minutes.
The Black Information Network.
The Bay Area's BIN 910.
I'm Natasha Williams on your home for 24/7 News on San Francisco's BIN 910. More drug dealing arrests are being made in San Francisco than ever, but African-American Police Chief Bill Scott says they're getting help from the California Highway Patrol and the DEA.
We are nearly where we were all last year, and we just at the beginning of August with drug sales arrests. And in terms of we're arresting people who are using it public, we were barely getting it at all last year.
The police department called in federal agencies to help in May because they were understaffed. A town hall was held this week in the Tenderloin district to discuss the fentanyl and crime crisis. San Francisco's African-American District Attorney Brooke Jenkins told attendees that her office has been working hard to get drug peddlers off the street, but they're often released hours after they're arrested. Some Marin County children are fighting recent racist messages in their neighborhoods with their own messages of love. 3 young girls have been spending their time making messages of love and taking them around to portions of Corte Madera and Larkspur. Their efforts come after racist and anti-Semitic flyers were dropped off at residences during the overnight hours. Girls tell ABC7 they were upset and sad after hearing about the nasty flyers and wanted to spread their own messages of positivity. And some Bay Area residents are getting the word out about immigration reform. Hundreds of people marched from North Bay and South Bay to San Francisco over the weekend to spread the message of wanting Congress to act on the topic of immigration reform. Marchers say they want lawmakers to take action on a plan for permanent residency for millions of immigrants around the nation. One march went from Petaluma to San Francisco, while the South Bay March started in San Jose. Advocates say there will be more demonstrations about the topic later this summer. And 5 men are facing decades behind bars for their role in a jewelry heist in San Ramon. Federal prosecutors this week charged the 5 men with robbery. Prosecutors say at least 11 people were involved in the armed heist of Heller Jewelers back in March, where the thieves were able to get away with over
in prison if convicted. And Elon Musk appears to be leaning into plans for a cage fight with Mark Zuckerberg and to stream it live. Musk wrote on X, formerly Twitter, that the battle of the billionaires cage fight will be live streamed on X. He wrote, Zuck versus Musk fight will be live streamed on X. All proceeds will go to charity for veterans. The owner of X, Tesla, and SpaceX, and the Meta CEO agreed in June to settle their differences in a cage fight after Musk sounded off about Meta's plan to launch Threads, its version of a Twitter-like social media platform. And that's a look at what's going on around the Bay Area. You can follow us on X, formerly Twitter, at BlackInfoNet. I'm Natasha Williams on your home for 24/7 News, San Francisco's BIN 910.
Telling our stories is more important than ever, and the NABJ is committed to training and supporting black journalists, media professionals, journalism students, and educators. Learn more at nabj.org.
Black news from black journalists.
The Black Information Network.
The Bay Area BIN 910.
CBS knows that the cough, cold, and flu season can sneak up on you. Just like that. Everyone in your home is sick, and CVS is here to help. Firstly, it's always best to prepare for the cold season by getting your annual flu vaccination at your local CVS. But should the annual bug catch up with you, CVS is well stocked with over-the-counter products you may need for your loved ones during this time of year. Easing the symptoms of cold and flu will help keep your family more comfortable. But before purchasing any product, it's important to recognize the symptoms you're targeting. Feeling under the weather can make you sluggish, uncomfortable, and fatigued. Whether you're dealing with the stuffy nose of a common cold, a nagging cough, or the aches and fever of a flu, the right products can help dull the symptoms of these illnesses and allow you to get back to your normal life. For everything you need to get through this year's cold and flu season, learn more at CBS.com. CBS is a proud founding partner of the Black Information Network.
The source for black news.
The Black Information Network. The stories that are important to you.
A man is pleaded guilty of vehicular homicide for mowing down two protesters with his car in Seattle on a 24/7 news network.
The higher number of preterm births among black mothers results in major health disparities later in life.
Giving voice to the black community.
All people that involved will be held accountable.
This is the Black Information Network.
The Bay Area's BIN 910 airs on the iHeartRadio app.
Clarence Leitner owns the honor of being the first and to date only black mayor of the city of Raleigh, North Carolina. Clarence Leitner was born August 21st, 1921, and attended North Carolina Central University, where he earned a degree in mortuary science. After graduation, he became a respected leader of the Raleigh business community, and then jumped into the political arena by successfully running for mayor of his hometown city. His 1973 victory made him the first elected mayor of a southern metro city, and since only 16% of voters in Raleigh were black at that time, Leitner's election was viewed as a major political victory in a majority white city. Unfortunately, he was not able to win re-election to his office and served just one term. In 1977, he was appointed to fill the vacant North Carolina State Senate seat for the 14th District, and then went on to chair the Southeast Raleigh Improvement Commission from 1993 to 2001. Clarence Leitner passed in 2002 at the age of 81. This is Terrence Bibb for the Black Information Network.
Speak out about what's happening in your community. Call the Black Information Network hotline at 855-500-9BIN. The opinions, beliefs, and viewpoints expressed in this commentary are those of the author and do not necessarily represent those of BIN and its founding partners and employees. Now it's time to bring the funk with Roland and Smarty.
I'm Walter Martin, reporting here at the National Association of Black Journalists Convention in Birmingham, Alabama. How many times have I warned all of you that conservatives, they're white conservatives, are on the attack against anything that is beneficial to African Americans? Latest story is on. White man that led the affirmative action case in the Supreme Court to overturn the affirmative action condition. He is now suing a black female
actually using the 1866 Civil Rights Act against these black people. Keisha Knight Pulliam is one of the people involved in this private equity fund. And the purpose of this fund is to provide opportunities to African Americans in the venture world. Now here's what's crazy. Right now, less than 2% of all venture capital dollars go to African Americans. And what this white conservative man is saying is that they want to stop that from happening. I warned everybody that they were not just stopping with critical race theory. They were not stopping with quarterback community college. That they want to go after any and everything that has benefited or to target African Americans and gives us an opportunity in this country. I have said to people, be fully prepared for this war. Too many of us are falling asleep and not being honest about what is happening. It's dangerous and it must be fought. I'm Roland Martin of the Black Information Network.
The Black Information Network.
The Bay Area BIN 910.
I'm Doug Davis, and here is what's trending. According to a new study, an obesity drug called Wegovy could cut the risk of cardiovascular emergencies like heart attack and stroke by 20%. That's what's trending from the Black Information Network.
Sports on the Black Information Network.
In the NFL, the Detroit Lions are adding another quarterback to their roster. ESPN reports Detroit is signing free agent Teddy Bridgewater, and the deal will be finalized later this week. Bridgewater spent the last season as the Miami Dolphins' backup QB and played in 5 games. The 30-year-old passed for 683 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions in his lone season with Miami. The QB reunites with Dan Campbell, who was an assistant coach with the Saints when Bridgewater was with New Orleans. Speaking of the Saints, they could be adding some insurance to their running back room. ESPN reports free agent running back Kareem Hunt visited New Orleans. The Saints will be without starter Alvin Kamara for the first 3 games of the season after he was suspended for violating the NFL's personal conduct
Going
policy.
way too
New Orleans
fast.
also took a depth hit after
Not
running
supposed
back
to do
Geno
that,
Benjamin
but
suffered a
the thing
ruptured
of no
Achilles.
law
Hunt
enforcement.
rushed
So
for 468 yards and 3 touchdowns last season with the Cleveland Browns. And an assistant on the Tennessee Titans, who is black, is taking over head coaching duties for the team's first preseason game. Current head coach Mike Vrabel announced that defensive line coach Terrell Williams will lead the team against the Chicago Bears in Saturday's preseason opener. Vrabel said it's a great opportunity for Williams and everyone involved. Williams joined Tennessee in 2018 and has 12 years of NFL coaching experience. Sports at 14 and 44 minutes past each hour. I'm Morgan Wood on the Black Information Network.
A special thank you to Sony,
A proud founding partner who shares and supports
Like your
the mission
style.
of the Black
Like
Information
that.
Network.
In the battle for independence. Maybe you didn't know that Washington was also a slave owner who kept slaves even when it was against the law. Although Washington became president in 1789, he continued to own slaves. During his term, Washington lived between New York, Virginia, and Philadelphia, PA. In 1780, a Pennsylvania law partially did away with slavery. Instead of adhering to it, Washington argued that the law didn't apply to him because he really was a resident of Virginia. He was only living in Philadelphia because of the presidency. To avoid the law, Washington's wife, Martha, would travel back to Virginia every 6 months with their slaves. Even though doing so was illegal, no one enforced the law. When he passed away, he still owned 300 slaves. I'm Tariq Lowe on the BIN.
the power of information.
Keeping you up to date on the Black Information Network.
Entertainment news on the Black Information Network.
DJ Khaled is continuing to make an impact in his community with a renovated basketball court and a new store in South Florida. Over the weekend, the producers We the Best Foundation teamed up with Snipes and Mom's Demand to debut the new unique court in Peacemaker Park in North Miami. The video shows Khaled surrounded by family members as he cuts the ribbon for the court. As for his new store, he recently hosted a grand opening for his We the Best and Snipes store CBS News comedian and TV host Wayne Brady is coming out as pansexual. He made the announcement at an interview with People Magazine. It means Brady finds people or as he referred to it, bisexual with an open mind. The current host of CBS's Let's Make the Deal expressed struggles with finding his identity throughout his life, saying therapy and prioritizing his mental health helped him figure out who he is. With the latest entertainment at 17 and 47 minutes past each hour, I'm Morgan Wood. When you're home for 24/7 news, the Black Information Network, and BINnews.com.
Women of the 6 AAA. Black women were permitted to travel overseas to serve their country in 44, and this battalion was eager to contribute. It was dangerous. This was a war zone, and there were injuries, close calls, and deaths. The 6 AAA pressed on, working long hours, 7 days a week. They were ruthlessly efficient, blowing through that 6-month backlog in just 3 months. I'm Tariq Lowe on the BIN.
Get Black business news every 30 minutes
on the Black Information Network. The Bay Area's BIN 910.
I'm Nicole Deal, filling in for John Marshall and Ivory Wood on your home for 24/7 news, the Black Information Network. Many Los Angeles city services are being impacted by a one-day strike. Beginning at 12:01 a.m. Tuesday morning, as many as 11,000 city employees began protesting what they call the city's refusal to bargain in good faith. The strike is expected to affect trash pickup, access to public swimming pools, and routine services at LAX. But the city's Black Mayor, Karen Bass, says she has a plan and Los Angeles is not going to shut down. Ticket lines are expected at LAX Airport and LA City Hall. Black workers across the country are accepting work from home and remote jobs as a way to escape racism in the office. According to the LA Times, many blacks say they do not want to go back. Even with a pay cut, they value the flexibility, better quality of life, and the reprieve from office politics, stereotypes, and microaggressions. Conceptually, there is discrimination, stigmas, and complexities that blacks endure while working in an office that their white counterparts do not. But overall, blacks working remotely appear to be adjusting well to doing their jobs without being reminded of their blackness every day. The Red Cross is implementing the FDA's updated guidance on allowing men who have sex with men to donate blood.
The American Red Cross says it is welcoming more donors and getting rid of restrictions based on sexual orientation. The FDA issued the new guidance in May, recommending individual risk-based questions for anyone donating blood, regardless of their gender, sex, or sexual orientation. Before, FDA restrictions stopped men who have sex with men from donating blood unless they abstained from sex for 3 months prior to their blood donation. I'm Mike Island on the Black Information Network.
We move on to the big riverfront brawl in Montgomery, Alabama that is sweeping across social media. The video of a black co-captain of a riverboat being attacked by a white mob has been viewed millions of times. But street justice was delivered when over a dozen other black men and women came to its rescue. Though the fight was no laughing matter, social media ate it up with endless memes and jokes.